The Charter Revision Commission meeting of November 20th, 2018 will come to order, and the clerk shall call the roll.
Carissa Holmes.
Here.
Laura A. Hughes.
Here.
Quincy Jones.
Present.
Richard Mack.
Here.
Tracey Peters.
Here.
Nicole Small.
Here.
Joanna Underwood. Carol Weaver.
Here.
Barbara A. Winder.
Present.
There being a quorum present, the commission will be in session, and we'd like to start by asking the pastor to come forward, please. Pastor Caldwell, I'd like to introduce Pastor Caldwell to lead us in prayer, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gracious Father God, we give you praise and we thank you for this moment and we thank you for this day. We welcome your presence. We ask you to bless and continue to bless our city, our leaders, that they may fulfill the will of the people. Father, we thank you for these new elected officials. Bless them, give them wisdom, give them knowledge, and we forever give you the praise. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you so very much. All right, we will move to the oath of office. This is a part of the most sacred part, if you will, of the meeting, in my opinion. I'm going to ask that you stand and raise your right hand, and after I recite the oath, you will respond with, "I will." Right hand?
It's Joanna Underwood.
Joanna, all right, Joanna.
Let the record reflect that Ms. Underwood has joined us.
Clerk will so note.
Do you swear or affirm to support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this state and the Charter of the City of Detroit to faithfully discharge your elected duties?
I will.
Congratulations to you all. You are now officially Detroit Revision Charter Commissioners.
Election to office. I nominate Nicole.
No, not yet. Not yet. We haven't gotten there, please. You all may be seated. So let me just, for the record, may I have the audience, just for the record, let me say that this first meeting I chair until the officer of president is elected, in which we're about to start now, okay? So as such, we will pass out ballots to you.
Thank you.
And you'll have on your ballot a list of all of the commissioners. And you will select one by circling it, and then we'll go over the results, and I will present the gavel, which looks like this today, to whoever is the president. So the ballots are being distributed now.
Madam Clerk?
Yeah.
Ma'am?
Point of order. I don't see a provision for this in the charter or in the Home Rule Act that the clerk would pass out a ballot authorizing people to vote.
We can do it.
Can you please?
Excuse me. We can do it.
Excuse me. Can you please reference the source of the authority for this?
You know what? I didn't bring it with me, but actually, it's your decision. It's your decision. But this is the only reason. We do a private ballot. That's the only reason why we did that. But if you prefer a show of hands, that's fine too.
I haven't asked for that. I have indicated that I don't see a provision in the charter or the Home Rule Act that provides for the clerk to provide this document to the body to vote on.
Okay, I'm sorry.
If there is a reference to it, please make the reference known to me.
No, I said there isn't.
Okay.
There isn't. It's actually up to this body is what I was explaining.
Then in that case, I prefer that Ms. Underwood, Commissioner Underwood, be recognized for her business and let her proceed with her nomination.
Okay, excuse me. Okay. All right. I have a question. Is Ms. Long from the law department, did you want to weigh in on that or not? I know. I know.
But we still want our vote.
It doesn't provide.
Yeah, still want to vote.
The Home Rule City Act does not provide specifics on how this moves forward, only that the city clerk would chair the meeting until the chair of the revision commission is elected. There is no specific provision of how that's done. Certainly, this body would determine how you'd like to move forward. I think the clerk was just trying to provide that facilitation as her position, just a minute, in her position of being the chair until someone is elected. But certainly, it's this body that makes a determination on how you'd like to move forward.
I think it's pretty clear in section 2.117, if I'm not mistaken, that once the clerk has administered the oath, her duties are over, and the election of officers can proceed. I'm pretty sure that that's how it reads, and perhaps you can get somebody to look that up.
And I would love for that to be the case, but I think that it's until you get a chair. But we can definitely consult with the law department.
Can we
Yes.
just?
Can we just vote?
Well, wait, you have to be recognized by the chair. We do know that I'm the chair. That part we agree on, right? Okay.
No, not at this point.
Not at
Your
this
duties
point.
are
You
over.
sworn- you
That's the
sworn
whole
in.
point.
Okay, well, let us hear from the law department, okay?
I believe the provision is found, and I don't have it with me, but I'm happy to go back to my office and get it, in the Home Rule City Act 117.20 that specifically indicates that the city clerk will chair the meeting until a chair is elected from the revision commission. It's not from our charter, so the Home Rule City Act has precedence over the charter, and that's where most of our charter revision or charter amendment information comes from. And that's my recollection, Madam Commissioner.
And my recollection is as I articulated it. So
Yeah.
it may be, in the interest of fairness, equity, and justice, you should send somebody to the law department to get the statute and bring it back.
Already did.
I'm
We
sorry.
we already did.
Wonderful.
She
Thank
just
you.
wanted to get it.
Thank you. And
Did anyone else have anything to say at this time? Oh, you have it?
That's the charter. I mean, that's the statute.
Yeah, I can't read.
117.20 if you want to.
I would like to submit a
could
ballot.
we have it read?
Okay, wait just 1 minute, please. Did you want to read that?
I can.
Okay.
We got to
Through
nominate,
the,
period.
through the chair,
Yeah.
the
This
section, the Home Rule
Quiet,
City
please.
Act, section 117.20 states the Charter Commission shall convene on the second Tuesday after the election at the place designated pursuant to section 19. The city clerk shall preside at the first meeting, comma, shall administer the oath of office to the members-elect, comma, and shall act as clerk of the commission, period. The Charter Commission shall be the sole judge of the qualifications, comma, elections, and returns of its members, shall choose its officers except clerk, shall determine rules of its proceedings, and shall keep a journal. So if I may, through the chair, I do believe that Madam Clerk is the chair of this proceeding pursuant to the second sentence of 117.20.
Until such time as
It
the
does not
officers
say
are
that.
elected.
It does not say that. It simply says, the city clerk shall preside at the first meeting, comma, shall administer oath of office to the members-elect, comma, and shall act as clerk of the commission, period. It does not say that there's an end to her chairing of this meeting at this first
Dawn is
meeting.
supposed to swear in.
That's exactly what Louise went down to get, because we looked at that earlier today before we got started. Certainly, let's be clear, this definitely is up to you as a body, how you would like to elect your chair. I'm just here to facilitate.
Thank you.
Madam, if I may make a suggestion, Madam Clerk, given the fact that under section 117.20, you are in fact the chair of this proceeding, I would recommend that the manner in which you've decided that we select a chair amongst us proceed and we proceed forward and vote, and by the, it can be done within a matter of minutes.
Would you like to make that as a motion?
I would like to make that as a motion.
Objection.
We object that.
Objection.
We already made a recommendation.
I'd like to
Right, there's
second the
one
motion that
You'd like to second it? Okay, so a motion has been made and has been seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Restate the
Aye.
motion. Which, you're talking about the motion I just
The
made?
motion that you just made,
Okay.
which means,
What about my motion that's
I
still in place?
didn't, it wasn't, she didn't make a motion.
I did.
Yes, she
I
did.
did. I did.
Did you?
I
Okay,
moved-
okay,
I moved-
okay, hold on.
I moved that Ms. Underwood's motion be acted on and followed until, That's what I initially asked, and then I went on to speak about the statute.
Yeah, I did hear the ask. I didn't know it was in the, it wasn't made into a motion. If it was, it wasn't seconded. So it wasn't recognized as a motion. Okay, so let's deal with the motion that's on the floor now, and
Is
then.
that my motion, or is that Mr.
That's the
Commissioner Mack?
motion that's been made and seconded.
Well, you didn't give my motion an opportunity to be second.
I didn't hear it as a motion. It was.
Which is
Point of
why
order,
I went
Madam Clerk.
into the discussion on the statute.
It wasn't made into as a motion.
It was.
I didn't understand it to
I'm
be made
sorry you
into a
didn't, but it was.
And as the chair, if it's not made clear to me, I can't act on it.
What more can I say other than I moved?
Excuse me. Yes, sir?
No, I was just going to say, please proceed.
So the motion, would you reinstate your motion, please?
To ask that my motion be acted on.
The motion,
Order, please.
The motion is to the chair pursuant to statute. The motion is that we proceed voting on a chair amongst us as pursuant to the manner in which you've provided by handing us these sheets.
Okay, he repeated the motion, and it was seconded by,
Laura Hughes, second.
and it was seconded by you?
That's correct.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
No.
Okay, we're going to do it by hand because that looked sound pretty even to me. All in favor, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All opposed, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. That motion passed. So you have your ballot in front of you. Please select your chair. We will collect the ballots when you're done. Your chair will be identified by the one who gets the most votes, and we will move forward.
Let's make sure it's secret. Don't let us know how they voted.
I'm telling you how to vote. I don't have a problem.
Thank you.
You know the charter was going to be put on the ballot according to your little roadmap.
Thank you.
It doesn't bother me. I just want to get this out the way.
You gotta wait 2 years and $1 million.
So maybe we won't get
Did you make copies? Yes. Thank you.
And Gilbert, Duggan Charter.
Thank you. Oh, thanks. Mine's highlighted, so many of them.
Yeah, some of them are highlighted.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
I have it. Thank you.
Make sure the roll votes are tallied properly.
Good. That was to make you smile.
All right, we'll see. We'll see.
We need order, please. Please respect the process.
She's the chair. Statute says she's the chair.
Now, make sure it's secret. Don't tell anybody how you voted. That's what our public meetings are about.
Do you want to indicate all of them? Like all of them? Sure. Just in case they ask, so it'll be there.
Carissa Holmes, 0. Laura Hughes, 0. Quincy Jones, 0. Richard Mack, 0. Tracey Peters, 0. Nicole Small, 4 votes. Joanna Underwood, 0. Carol Weaver, 5 votes. Barbara Winder, 0. Carol Weaver is now the chair of the Detroit City Charter Revision Commission.
All right. Ms. Weaver, you are the chair, and my job is done. Thank you. I think these are all.
Yes, they are. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to the citizens of the city of Detroit who elect this commission. And I look forward to working with each and every one of you. And I would also like to thank you for selecting me as chair.
Madam Chair, may I move that even though we've kind of been using it, that we officially adopt the Roberts Rules of Order for the process by which this commission will make its decisions and actions?
I second it.
Anyone second?
I second it.
Okay.
But she got to select me.
So we have a,
I'm so sorry.
we have a motion seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed to our rules of order?
Ayes have it.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Commissioner Mack?
the commission meetings have to be held throughout the city, I believe. I would propose at this time that we discuss the dates for subsequent meetings. As all of you probably are aware, there was a notice sent out as to when one of the things that we have to do tonight is to decide dates of subsequent meetings, and I would recommend that we discuss that now.
Who's the vice chair?
So this is the second highest vote.
Is that, can we do that?
You got to decide.
The reason I
And do the location next.
well, we're discussing about the one thing that I know that given that this meeting was, at least I got notice, I think many of us got notice very recently, like last Friday, I believe. I want to make sure that before we conclude, at least would be my suggestion, that we have dates set, at least for the next couple of meetings. And if obviously the commission wants to entertain any other motions, such as other positions, other officers, we do that. But my recommendation would be that we do that now so that we know that before we leave, we have at least another
The next
time that we're
meeting
going to
date.
be meeting. Right.
This meeting was already established because you read that. It was in the
So
information you provided.
Can we have discussion about the next meeting? I know there are 2 dates. There is Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday, December the 12th, 6 p.m. There is a location, the Matrix Center,
Side.
on the east side, free of charge, wheelchair accessible, ample parking, and it's a strong community center with multiple activities. So they're prepared and welcome us to have our first meeting there in District 3.
Okay, and then we have a second location for consideration.
yes, the Northwest Activity Center, and I believe the date was December the 18th, the following Tuesday. I know that's getting close to Christmas.
Right.
But that's, if you think about the amount of work that we'll have to do, I think, me personally, again, that it makes sense to at least have 2 meetings in December if we can. But, I mean, obviously, other commissioners are free to chime in on what they feel is
Madam Chair?
appropriate.
Yes.
I would object to 2 meetings in December for the reason that most people, the city, first of all, is going to be closed down in a couple of weeks. It's the population, people are always preparing for the holidays.
Yep.
Nobody has time to really squeeze in a meeting. That's if we want the public to come to the meeting.
Yeah.
If we want to have a private meeting among ourselves, then we should have one and go on and do that. But if we're going to have a public meeting for the people to come, then I would suggest strongly that we not set a date in December and that we wait until mid-January to do that. We have plenty time time. We have 3 years to get this done. We're not going to be rewriting a whole document. And with all the brains up here, I'm sure that we can get it done in less than 3 years.
If I may,
Yes.
through the chair, Commissioner Winder, and again, it's up to us as to how we decide to proceed. One goal can be that if we want to get something on the ballot for November 2020, and that if for some reason it's unsuccessful and we can go back to the people and figure out what they didn't like about our revision, we would have another opportunity for November or whatever election date in 2021. So one thought is that trying to put something before the voters for November 2020 to have 2 bites of the apple, in order to do that, it would really mean, given the time of baking in the process of having the draft approved by the state, the statute specifically speaks to it being approved by the governor, which means the AG's office. You're building several months for that. You're building time to draft. You're building time to really hear from all of the community, different stakeholders in the community activists. I mean, I think there's a lot that we would have to do, which basically would mean that we have 2019 and maybe a couple of months in early 2020 to get all of that done. So if we are in fact going to try to do that, my recommendation would be we try to at least get a meeting, at least one meeting in December. Also, we have to, hire staff. We have to present a budget to the city. We have to hire an attorney, at least going by what they did at the last commission.
We're not going by the last commission.
And
That's the
again,
problem.
I'm just making this
So if it is open, then I think that all of us should have a say, whoever wants to, and I agree. This is about the people. We all ran on a platform and claimed to want to support the interest of the people and not other interests. And so therefore, the people should have an opportunity to be well notified with adequate timing to ensure that they can come out to these meetings. Now, if the city is shut down, and we are part of city government right now, I think that we should comply, and we also should be shut down until the middle of January. It only makes sense so we could give the public enough time to come out and engage and to talk about the charter and for them to have some input and for it to be inclusive. We should not be meeting again for 2 times in December, and it's solely just the board. No.
Okay, through the chair. We never said there was 2 different dates. I wanted this body to pick one of the 2 dates.
That's what Richard said.
Yeah, that was my suggestion. That
Through the chair, excuse me.
So we can either meet in December or we can meet in January.
Through the chair, I will restate. The People's Charter begins with the people here, but with the 9 of us as well.
Yes.
I would like to proceed with the election of officers before I I don't mean at this moment, I'm not suggesting out of order. Here's what I'm saying. There are very good reasons as relates to the election of 2020 and to be thoughtful and judicious. I want to be most thoughtful about the leadership of this 9-member body. And I'm uncomfortable, and I support Commissioner Winder's suggestion to not put 2 meetings in December, simply because at this point it is you, Madam Chairman, alone taking the leadership base, and I would like to get to know my fellow commissioners before setting 2 meetings.
Okay.
Even
But that
one.
was never- point taken, but that was never, I thought we should only have 1 meeting. But
Other
we can
comments?
table that, and we can go to election of officers.
Okay.
You like?
That's
Madam Chair,
fine.
you-
Okay. Any nominations for vice chair?
Do we want to do it just,
We didn't do that for the first, for the chair.
pardon?
Well, you got this.
A motion for the next highest votes or either.
Can we make a motion for the next, for the vice chair position?
Are we ready? You have a motion? Is it a motion?
No,
Not the chair.
I never, just for clarification, I never formally made a motion concerning the dates. I made a suggestion. I did that deliberately because I did want to hear what folk thought about, when we should meet. I've heard our commissioners and their concern about meeting twice in December, and I take that. Hey, I'm easy going, I just wanted to put the issue out. So the chair has made a suggestion about a request for nominations for the position of vice chair.
Quincy Jones, Commissioner, would like to run for Vice Chair position.
Are you taking nominations?
Yes.
Okay, so we're not
Nomination.
moving, so you don't need a second for a nomination, I don't think. But
And if we're nominating, I'm nominating Commissioner Laura Hughes for vice chair.
I'm nominating Nicole Small for vice chair.
other nominations?
No further nominations. Silent ballot. Silent ballot.
So you have to,
So I think we're going to follow.
you could do another ballot. So do another ballot. Madam Chair, just
Let me
demand another
put
ballot.
out, if I may, there was a suggestion from the gentleman, so that everyone is apprised of that. Dang, I forget his,
Why
is this Mr.
he talking to you
Agee?
and
was
not
his
the chair?
suggestion?
That's what I really want to know. Why is he not addressing that with the chair?
That's correct.
Ms. Small, because he addressed me, I'm going to make sure that everyone knows
I didn't
what the
ask you if he
suggestion
addressed
was.
you. I said, why is he addressing you
I'm
instead of
simply repeating what he said, so that it's not a private conversation, that everyone knows what was said. Now, it won't be once I say it.
But it was.
Okay.
He said he
One
could
at a
do a
time.
private ballot like we did with the chair election if we so decided. That's
No.
what the suggestion was.
No. I don't trust the first vote. The second?
Further nominations?
Madam Chair, you want to step in? If there's no further nominations,
There's no further nominations. We're going to go forward
That's correct.
for the ballots.
and you can, by raising your hand,
I mean, we don't.
Madam Chair,
We can go by raising of the hands. I would prefer ballots.
ballots.
Well, why don't we gotta...
You have enough ballots for us? Can we have more ballots, please?
Madam Chair, your request, you making a motion for ballots?
You have-
Yeah, I'm making a motion just to do the ballots.
The ballots, yes. Thank you. So we have Laura Hughes, Quincy Jones, and Nicole Smalls.
Yes.
Carol,
Or-
Carol, call for order.
Calling for order. Now settle down.
May I make a...
Yeah.
I knew this was gonna happen by her being chair. She's not even supported by the people. That's why she shouldn't be chair. We don't even know how to chair.
Madam Chair,
I suggested that you have a seat. And this is how it's gonna be the whole charter.
That's all right, Carol. Can I...
Oh, yeah.
Can I...
order, please.
Can I... Chair, can I make a comment?
Oh, now that it's been done? Okay. That's fine. Hey, if it has to be, that's okay.
Finish this and let's.
The mission as a whole, we're going to select our vice chair, and then the gentleman is going to, when you're finished, please raise your ballot, and the gentleman will pick it up and tally and give us the results.
Already going by with somebody else. Got a backbone.
Your name, sir? Can we have order?
Yes.
Let him
Yeah,
watch.
let them watch it.
Absolutely.
They're chartered.
Wayne County Commissioner, former Otis Mathis School Board, Vietnam veteran, so you cut the screaming and hollering down and keep it honest. You do have to have someone watching. I'm a neutral party.
She shouldn't have nothing to do with none of the nominations.
Girl, that fix was already in.
It's in, and it's gonna be held to pay too. That's best to believe it. Fell out. That's the case. We're just gonna buy higher votes, and then I'll be vice chair.
Got a gavel.
Settle down.
That's not how you chair a meeting. That's not how you chair a meeting. Maybe she should read Robert's Rules of Order.
He's got the results.
We're ready for the vote.
Speak up.
Yes, Mr. Dante. Can we have the results, please?
Carissa Holmes, 0. Laura Hughes, 2 votes. Quincy Jones, 2 votes. Richard Mack, 0. Tracey Peters, 0. Nicole Small, 5 votes. Joanna Underwood, 0. Carol Weaver, 0. Barbara Winder, 0. Nicole Small is now the vice chair of the Detroit City Charter Revision Commission.
Can you?
Okay. Want to switch members? Then it'd be fine with me. Yeah, fine.
Howard to Burford,
Yeah. Wait.
to Richard.
Madam
Mack.
Chair, please, if we could, we're winding up. I promise you.
Is he right? Is
If I, Madam Chair, if I could make a, if I could move that we open the nominations for the position of treasurer.
What about secretary?
I said treasurer first
But why are you saying treasurer?
because I made the motion for
I
treasurer.
make a motion first. We vote for secretary.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor.
Stupid. This is
We have
so
a
out of
second.
order. This is so out of order.
We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
It does make a difference.
Order. We have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Treasurer first.
Do we have a second?
What is the motion on the floor?
Richard made a motion that we elect treasurer.
I second.
I second that motion.
Motion. There's a motion on the floor that's been seconded.
Yeah, there's a motion on the floor.
Can we pass out ballots again, please? Do you have enough?
Well, we
Treasurer.
Okay.
well, we open up
Is
the
there-
nominations for treasurer.
Anyone else like to
I
run
move.
for treasurer?
I present myself as a nominee for treasurer.
Okay.
I nominate Tracey Peterson for treasurer.
I accept.
And I accept my own nomination.
We can do ballots or we can do show of hands.
Can we please do show in the hands?
Okay. For Richard Mack, a show of hands for treasurer.
Treasurer.
4 votes. And for Tracey Peters. 5 votes. Tracey Peters is the treasurer.
Congratulations.
Anything for secretary?
Secretary.
Secretary. Any nominations for secretary?
Maybe I'll be dog catcher, I don't
I
know.
nominate Barbara Winder.
No, I will
Secretary.
decline. I decline.
Barbara has declined.
Respectfully decline.
I nominate Richard Mack as secretary.
I'll accept, as long as it ain't dog catcher, I'm good.
Any other nominations?
You take it?
I'll take that, yes.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor? Raise your hand, please. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Of what? Are we nominating or voting?
6 people. Richard.
Do that. It wasn't clear.
Were you?
Yeah, read it.
Yeah, that wasn't clear. Or it wasn't clear on
Of the
this one.
vote.
They didn't hear.
She's second.
All right.
So all in favor of Richard Mack being secretary, please raise your hand.
Oh, no.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 votes. Richard Mack is secretary. I think we have elected all the officers.
No, I think, Madam Chair, I
Yes.
believe we need a parliamentarian, and I nominate Joanna Underwood.
If
I second.
when we have discussion about this,
Go ahead.
the concern that I have about having one of us be the parliamentarian is that if that individual is also attempting to speak, being the same person who wants to speak and controlling others speaking may be somewhat of an interesting conflict. The last charter, again, not suggesting that that's how we have to do it, but the last charter had the general counsel that we would hire be the parliamentarian as well. So my suggestion would be we not have the one of us be parliamentarian.
Commissioner Small, what did you say?
My mic is the only one that's off. I find that.
We can hear you just fine,
But,
Commissioner
you
Smallwood.
keep referencing the last charter, and this is our charter, so I think that the rules that are made should be voted on by this body. We don't need to keep bringing in what the previous charter did. That's why we're here today, because obviously the people weren't satisfied.
That's
Madam
not
Chair.
why we're here today, actually.
It is why we're here.
We're
They
here today
weren't
because the
satisfied.
charter
They
required
reopened it.
that
They
it be reopened.
They reopened it. It's
Madam
not up for
Chair.
debate.
Commissioner
I've
Mack.
Be
already
voted on.
If I may.
So your concern is that having a commissioner as the parliamentarian would be too much, or
It's
will it
that-
be able to be overwhelming
so-
or not?
Yes, if I can explain. So as an example, if Joanna Underwood's a parliamentarian and she wants to also make a point about something that's being discussed, it becomes a conflict because she can cut off other people from talking and allow herself to talk.
I
And so that
respect-
becomes a
I
problem.
would-
Not anything about Joanna
Order,
Underwood.
please,
I've
order.
got tremendous
Hold up.
respect for her.
Hold
Let
up.
me finish this point. I got tremendous
Madam
respect for
Chairman.
Joanna Underwood. It's not a matter of that. It's a matter of the process. You
Madam
need someone
Chairman.
who's not one of the
Order,
ones speaking.
please.
Madam Chairman, if I might,
Yes, Barbara.
if I might,
Commissioner.
then in that case, and your point is well taken, Commissioner Mack, in that case, I will not only nominate Commissioner Underwood as parliamentarian, but I will nominate myself as the vice parliamentarian, so that when that occurs, I will be able to take the position when Commissioner Underwood speaks.
I second.
So I have a question
can
for
we-
Commissioner Underwood. Are you comfortable with that as far as like
Yes.
speaking and then also controlling as we have public meetings and things of that nature, because it's a process as well too. So are you comfortable with that as well too?
Yes, I'm very comfortable with that position. Commissioner Jones.
And we just solved the problem. Barbara will serve as the vice parliamentarian, so she can support Joanna when she's speaking. So it's solved. Let's vote.
Can we, may I make I don't know exactly if we have a particular motion on the floor or a request for nominations. If we have a motion on the floor, then it's proper for me to, in discussion, to address it, which I did. If we have a request for nominations,
Yeah.
then I guess I would move that we
Barbara made
table the issue, and it's appropriate to table the issue at any time for us to resolve amongst ourselves at the next meeting the issue of parliamentarian, vice parliamentarian. It just seems like it's confusing to
Order.
me.
Madam Chair.
Here, I would like
Madam Chair.
clarification. I thought the motion was made.
It was
Order,
not a mo-
please.
It was not a motion.
Order. It was a
I'm going to
discussion.
respond to Commissioner Mack. It was because he said he wasn't clear of whether or not, so I want to make it clear. It was a nomination. It was not a motion. And it was a nomination for Joanna Underwood to serve as the parliamentarian. And after your discussion, I amended my nomination to include myself as the assistant or vice parliamentarian to resolve the issue of her speaking and not being able to control her speaking.
All right, and since we don't have a motion, then I will move that we have our general counsel that we hire serve as parliamentarian as opposed to one of us. I would make that motion now.
There's a motion on the table.
I would like to make a motion that Joanna Underwood.
There's a motion on the table. Do we have a second?
Oh, he didn't. He didn't.
I just made a motion.
He just made a motion. He just
We
made
have
a
to
motion.
get a second, then we need discussion on the motion.
I'm sorry, Madam Chair, I didn't quite, can you repeat that, because I didn't understand?
She made the nomination.
I just made a motion that we have our general counsel serve as parliamentarian as opposed to.
No, if we're open for discussion, we need to end that, then you make a motion.
We don't, hold on, please. Because we don't have a motion on the floor, it's always appropriate to have a motion placed on the floor. And the motion that I'm making is that we have the general counsel.
This is where I need clarification. I'm asking Madam Chair a question, and you keep having all of the answers.
Yes.
That is a problem.
No, ma'am.
Respect the chair of this board. She is the chair.
Ma'am, I have a motion on the floor.
Madam Chair,
Before you made
are
that,
you
I
going to
still asked
act
her a
on my
question. You
nomination
interrupted.
before you act on his motion?
I think we have a.
This is exactly why we
Can't hear.
Go ahead. Can you clarify this so we can calm this down, please?
I think we should table this until our next meeting.
No, we had a nomination of officers.
We have a nomination on the floor, Madam Chair. No, I didn't. He made a motion. I'm speaking to my nomination. You have a nomination on the floor.
He can't hear you. We have a nomination on the floor. We have a motion.
Right. The motion that this.
We understand the motion. That's not the issue.
Under Robert's rules, the thing.
Order, Madam Chair, take order, please. Ladies and gentlemen, order.
Gentlemen, or I'm going to adjourn this meeting.
The meeting.
Order, please.
Oh.
I'm sorry, people. This is not what we.
Ladies and gentlemen.
You are a commissioner.
Order.
The meeting.
I don't know why Richard's talking like he's the chair. Elect all officers.
Thank you.
Now, if I may, Madam Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
under Robert's Rules of Order, which we just adopted, you have a motion which has to be either seconded, and if it's not seconded, then the gentleman actually said correctly, it dies.
It dies, right.
We have the request for nominations is technically not a motion. So the motion that we have is whether or not we should, my motion is to have a general counsel serve as parliamentarian as opposed to one of us. If there's no second, it dies. If there's a second, we vote on it. Do we have a second?
That was not true.
Madam Chair.
I will second that motion.
Okay, we have a second. Can we have a show of hands to Richard's motion?
Well, has there been a request for discussion?
Now open up for discussion.
There's a request for discussion.
Okay, discussion.
Go ahead.
Barbara.
I have my discussion. Excuse me. My discussion is that I have a nomination on the floor. It has not been acted on. Commissioner Mack has offered a motion, which I assume he expects should supersede my nomination.
It does.
Now, if that could be the case, but if it does, then I would like for him to refer to, again, the Roberts Rule of Order that states that. And if that's the case, then I'll capitulate, and I'll bring my nomination after we vote on the motion.
Jay, bring me my bag. It's my 10-year-old, y'all. My little clerk.
Vice Chair, you didn't report. That's why I said, just let the clerk read the minutes back.
Yeah,
Richard, can you table your motion? Can you table your motion?
I can. You can, yeah, either one of us, I can table
Madam Chair,
motion.
you can table this
We
discussion.
have somebody with minutes. Why don't
Yeah, you
ask
can,
them to
yeah.
read the minutes back, so then you can stop all of this with them. And you can go from, you can make.
I mean, the-
Yeah.
Go from here. Ask them to.
Madam Chair, you can table this discussion.
I'm going to table this discussion to our next meeting.
All right,
You can escape.
What are you
Yes.
going to do about my nomination?
tabled it. She has authority to table it. No, you don't need a motion to table.
Wait, we haven't even finished the other one. What damn order are y'all following?
All right, so
What?
We're going to table
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Mack's motion.
I think we need the minutes read back so we can have clarity on what order it is.
Madam Chair,
please,
We're gonna have them turn this out.
please,
You just asked him to read the minutes back.
Can you read the minutes back?
please.
Jesus Christ.
Portion of the nomination of Joanna Underwood.
The only minutes I have is Ms. Carol Weaver as chair, Ms. Nicole Small as vice chair, Ms. Tracey Peters as treasurer, and Mr. Richard Mack as secretary.
We don't have any minutes. We don't have any minutes.
We didn't, what you mean? So you didn't take Barbara Weiner's, you didn't take Barbara Weiner's minutes, so you didn't record her minutes.
That's an order.
You didn't record her.
Madam
you didn't
Chair,
record her
you can
minutes.
table this.
Table and move
That's what I'm
on.
saying. We're going to table this and move on.
Move on.
We're going to table this and move on.
Madam Chair,
Now,
are you going to table my nomination?
Yes, I am.
How can you table my nomination?
And you can't.
You don't have that
And table
that authority.
point of order. The chair has spoken. It's been decided. You like that?
Yes, Commissioner Jones.
No, I'm just saying, are you tabling?
Yes, I am.
Table.
Well, I want the clerk to record an objection that I entered a nomination for an officer, which was tabled by the chair. Yeah, and make it a matter of record, please. That was tabled by the chair, was not acted on, and it was for Commissioner Joanna Underwood as parliamentarian and myself as the vice parliamentarian. And at this point, I am prepared to move that as a motion.
And both,
Before we move forward, we need to vote on that nomination. And then you can table whatever you want to.
through the chair, Madam Chair, just for clarity, you table both the nomination and my motion, is that correct?
Correct. That is correct.
Okay.
So for clarity.
No.
You cannot table my nomination.
You can't do that.
You have no authority to table my nomination.
Do that.
Point of order, please.
You're not right.
I think the wrong person ran for chair.
Table her nomination, that turns into a dictatorship.
He tabled, that's exactly what they trying to do.
Okay, now let's move on to our scheduling of meetings.
Hey, move on. You gotta finish, we gotta vote for officers.
What are you doing?
Yay or nay?
There is Robert Rules of Order that is in place. We must vote on her nomination, and then you can move on.
So Porter order,
Madam Chair,
point
you
of
have
order.
to have a motion to table. You can't just table.
What motion?
You had a-
What you had
Put his
precedent.
motion before her nomination.
you
What are
have to
you
have a motion.
doing?
Order.
You should get in order. Read it.
Let's take the vote. Let's take the vote for parliamentarian Joanna Underwood and vice parliamentarian Barbara Winder. Can I have a show of hands for parliamentarian Joanna Underwood, Commissioner Joanna Underwood? Yes, Commissioner Jones.
Is my hand? What if I want
2, 3, 4.
5. Quincy has his hand up.
Are you voting?
Quincy is voting.
That was 5.
Okay, we're going to move on.
That's the problem with recognizing me, Madam Chair.
Okay.
But I would like to offer some. Madam Chair?
Yes.
Please.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, I stepped to the mic as the Director of the City Planning Commission, desiring only to offer this body some simple guidance, particularly in light of the discord that has come
Yes.
and all the concerns from the audience.
Yes.
From the audience. First and foremost, it is not my intent nor desire to do anything that looks as though it is the exercise of undue influence. I'm simply suggesting that maybe you use whatever next meeting you discuss to first and foremost get a full understanding of the rules and regulations that apply to this body.
Thank you.
Open Meetings Act, the Open Meetings Act, as well as the Home Rule Cities Act, fully understand the charter, the chapter, the version rather of Robert's Rules of Order, and get so that you have the full scope of governance that you are going to operate under before you proceed with some of these other things that could be called into question, which could call some of your actions into question.
Okay.
And I didn't vote. I had, so.
Commissioner Jones.
Can I speak?
So,
No, we're going to go with Commissioner
it
Jones.
was discussion. I had a discussion, and that's why I wanted to ask you a question again around this parliamentary, because typically a parliamentary is outside of an individual, and I know that Commissioner Weiner said it should be vice, but I'm more concerned if you're chairing committees and we're in a whole meeting. How are you going to do that? So that was my question. It wasn't a vote. It was my question to ask that. I think it's going to be very difficult to move on that.
Yeah, we already
Madam
talked
Chair,
about
we
it.
already had a discussion on that, and that is why, and thank you, and that's why Barbara.
You voted, correct? You voted
Let him
for
We
it.
speak.
voted.
It was a
And
question,
we
but it's counted as a
You let the
vote.
city
We didn't
speak.
say
Can
that
the
it
people
was a question,
speak?
and we already
Okay.
solved it.
Can-
We explained
The
what was
last
going on.
order of business, the last order of business is our next meeting.
No.
Can I speak? You let the city speak. Can the community speak? Can the community speak? You let the city speak. Can the community speak?
Point of order.
And he's right, but you need to have, you can have a
Commissioner Holmes.
parliamentarian part of
Commissioner
your
Holmes.
board. Also, you need to record these meetings because the minutes.
Out of order.
You're
Please
not
sit down.
recognized, sir.
I have not come. You are out of order. Please sit down. Go ahead. Commissioner Holmes.
I'm asking Commissioner Jones to please clarify. Please clarify.
Please,
Excuse me, Commissioner Jones. Commissioner Holmes is speaking to you.
So I know everybody got excited, but mine's a no discussion. There was another question around the process for running a parliamentary, because parliamentary, I'm more concerned with running a committee and trying to run a meeting and trying to be parliamentary. Usually parliamentarians are outside of the body.
Why would you vote?
So was your vote for them, Commissioner Holmes?
That is my question. Did you vote for them, or were you raising
It
your
was
hand?
a question, everybody. It was a question.
So you did not
You
vote
did not
for them.
vote. Thank
Madam
you.
Chair,
It was
Did not
Madam
work.
Chair.
Did you?
It was.
Commissioner
I did
Jones.
not. I didn't. It was a question.
It was a question. It
And
was
I
not a vote.
Madam Chair,
But-
Madam Chair, we opened it for discussion. He asked that question before. We answered the question, which is why we have Joanna as a parliamentarian, and she will be
No,
supported by
the-
Barbara Wine. I'm not done.
What's your vote?
Point of order.
Then you
Point of
called
order.
for a vote,
Point of
and
order.
we voted on it. His question is the same question
Point of
he asked
order.
before, and it was answered. And so then you called for a vote, and we have voted on it.
So your vote was for.
It's always.
We can move on.
You can't turn back around and say I
What we
raised
should
my
be
hand.
concerned about is if
You
it was
may-
not a vote. If it was
I
not
did
a
ask
vote,
you
that's
to-
fine.
I'm clear.
You made it
Clear-
clear, Madam Chair,
Madam
that
Chair.
we were taking a vote.
I'm clarifying my vote.
You made it clear that we were taking a vote, Madam Chair. And at that time, he raised his hand. So we have taken the vote.
Railroad your vote? No.
No, we're good. No,
No,
we're good. We're good.
We good?
point.
Okay, schedule of the next meeting.
Jesus Christ.
Are we? So we have 2 dates. Please check your calendars. We have December. What was the vote? Commissioner Jones, you have December 13th?
12.
So there was the date.
December 12th?
December the 12th, the Matrix Center at 6 p.m.
Okay. And Commissioner Mack, you have what date?
The date that I had was December the 18th, the Northwest Activity Center.
Can we vote on one of these dates?
No, I want to nominate another, I want to make a motion for another date.
We already have the,
No, we never even finished it. That's 1 and 2.
but you already have the location and everything? We have the location
You
and
don't
the
have
date.
to have the location. It says that we need to come up with a meeting date. That's what it says. We could get the location.
Point of order, Nicole, she's got
talking to
something
me.
on the...
She's talking to me.
Got
so
something
you,
on the table.
She's talking.
Order, commissioners. Do we want
Get your shit together.
December 12th or December 18th? Can I have a show of hands for December 12th? One, two, three, four. Okay, 4 votes. How about December 18th?
Oh my God.
Can we vote?
1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to have to table this and come up with a meeting at another date. We will be...
Happened when you asked about January. That was put on the table as well. You said you never said 2 dates in December, so either it will be 1 date in December and 1 date in January. So what is the date that you're proposing for January?
We will let everyone know.
Let's
at a
figure
later
it out
date.
right now.
Madam Chair, can we do it?
22nd.
Commissioner Small, what date did you have in mind?
January 22nd.
What date? What day?
22nd?
That's a Sunday.
No, it's a Tuesday.
That's a Tuesday.
You said 27th?
22nd.
Second.
That's too far away.
When do they come back from recess? The second week?
Yeah, maybe we can do it the week of the 14th. Can everyone check your calendar? Do you want to check your calendar?
I have nothing on my
Wait a
calendar
minute.
except
How
this.
is it that mine is too far away, but yours was too close and that wasn't on the table?
Commissioner Small, what date was that again? I'm sorry.
I
She
said
said the
January the 22nd.
22nd.
Does someone else have another date in January?
So
Might I
just so I'm clear, are we
propose-
deciding between December and January, or what are we deciding?
So we're saying January now. The
So-
commissioners are saying,
So is this open for discussion?
yes, it is open up for
So
discussion.
I think based on the conversation today, and there's some need for us to have clarity so that all of us are up to speed on the same pace around Robert's Rules of Order, the charter, et cetera, I would recommend that we meet earlier, which is why I think that we should meet in December. I'm fine with setting a January date too, but I think that there is appropriate due diligence that we need to do as members of this commission to ensure that we are inspiring confidence in the folks that we're serving.
We also have to give proper notification to the public because it will be a public meeting.
Absolutely.
So
That's correct,
that's
which
why
is
I'm
required
proposing
for
that
there
we
to be
meet in
10 days
January. And
notice
what's
for
on
a
the
public
table right
meeting, which is
now?
on there.
What's on the table right now is what is another date being proposed for January? Because the Madam Chair has already stated that she was never proposing 2 dates in December. It would either be in December or January. The Madam Chair has already stated that.
So-
So what are we proposing for January?
So Commissioner Small and Madam Chair.
And she said it was open for discussion.
It's open
It's
for
opened up for
discussion.
discussion.
How you
Yes.
gonna open it back up?
Yeah, it's open for discussion.
She said it was open for discussion.
It's open for.
It's backwards.
If
Yeah,
You want to say January, the week
You know
of
what y'all
January
make
she's
14th?
rules as
suggesting
you go
December.
along.
She's suggesting December.
I'm suggesting the December date.
Maybe if Laura wants to move that we have a date in December.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
Madam Chair, can I make a motion to have a meeting scheduled in January, please?
Second.
yeah, I think we should just.
Okay.
All right, now it's.
All in favor?
Aye.
The January meeting, raise your hand, please.
Yeah, we all just meet in January.
Okay.
You do yours for December.
Yeah.
Then I'm going for
7 votes have it. We're meeting in January.
We need to have a meeting in December. They just voted
Are we
on
going to
it.
set a date in January? Is there a date?
That's going to be.
Let's do the 15th.
Oh, I thought.
Madam
she didn't
Chair,
suggest-
Yes.
so I'd like to make a motion that we have a meeting in December.
I second.
She like have a meeting in December.
All in favor?
All in favor of a December meeting?
I think we need one.
3. Okay, January has
There
it.
it is.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion that we select a date today so we can notify the public in January.
May I suggest?
Okay, we have have a motion and second to have a date today?
Second it.
Barbara seconded.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, can I have a show of hands for our motion? Quiet it up for our meeting in January.
Yes.
Show of hands.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Madam Chair, I didn't hear it. What's the question?
There's a motion on the table to have a meeting in January.
I thought we did it already.
No, the motion is.
I made a motion to select
now.
the date
Select the date.
for a meeting in January before we leave, so we can notify the public.
Absolutely.
And I agree.
Okay?
Absolutely.
Can everyone pull out their calendars?
Might I suggest January the 10th, which is a Thursday? Now, what's wrong with January 10th? I want to know what's wrong with January.
Okay, it's Thursday, January. Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor for our next meeting to be Thursday, January 10th. Can I have a show of hands of everyone who would like to meet on Thursday, January 10th?
It's amazing.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 votes. Our next meeting is Thursday, January 10th.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we select a time for the meeting.
Would you have to, can we?
Okay?
6 p.m.
Second?
Sure you don't want to be the chair over
Okay.
here?
What time do you propose?
6 p.m.
What time do you propose?
6 p.m.
6
We
p.m.
have a motion on the floor for our next meeting to be 6 p.m.
Second it.
Have a second? All in favor, please raise your hand. Okay. Motion carry. Our next meeting will be January 10th at 6 p.m. Now can I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to open up for public comment for 1 minute.
For 1 minute.
That's the law. They gotta open up for public comment. No, it's
We
the
have to get a
law.
location first.
Madam Chair, before we do that, Madam Chair.
No, I put the motion on the table.
okay,
Can
put it.
somebody second?
Second the motion to open up the floor for the public.
Can't do that.
Then we have discussion.
We need to have a discussion.
Let's have a discussion.
I know that we've been here an hour. I know that at least a couple of us we were noticed of this meeting very recently, and we had to arrange our schedules to be here. I certainly am in favor of always hearing from the public.
Great, you support it.
But I think that given that we've been here and we've got prior commitments, at least one person has to catch a plane in another hour, I would suggest that we reserve public comment for our next meeting, but if, you know.
And I would,
man.
Can we get a second to that motion?
That's not a motion.
Already
That's
a
open
motion on
for
the floor.
discussion.
Open
We
for
already have a
discussion.
second for the motion. So now I would like to say if someone has to leave for a flight, that's only one person, and we will still have
Okay.
a quorum, so we can
That's-
continue this meeting.
That's fine.
Okay.
And the vice chair can lead public comment.
Pardon me?
The vice chair can lead public comment.
Okay.
That's fine.
I would like to say that, no, it is not. Unfortunately, I have a prior commitment. I have a flight to catch, and I will defer for Nicole Small as vice chair. Thank you.
That's why you elected vice president.
That's why she shouldn't be damn chair.
Okay, we will now open up the meeting for public comment, 1 minute each.
Well, we got to vote on that first, Nicole.
Vote on it.
That motion on
Can we make the motion?
We never,
Did you second?
it was a motion and a second, but there was no
It
vote.
was second. Let's vote on the motion to open up the meeting for public comment at 1 minute each. All in favor? Aye.
All right, I'll go along with it. Let's go.
All right,
Go along
so
with
move. Please line up in the center. If you have a public comment, 1 minute each. Who will be the timekeeper? Can you be the timekeeper since you're the parliamentarian?
Let me know when.
I will raise my hand when you have 20 seconds left, okay?
Oh, she got it, okay.
Please state your name. Please state your name and your comment or question.
Yes, my name is Lori Parks, and I thank you guys for being elected. Hi, Richard.
Ladies and gentlemen, order, please.
One voice.
Please, one voice, one voice.
Madam Chair, can you take the conversation into the hall, one voice?
Thank you.
One.
Can y'all listen?
Okay,
Disrespect.
Let her.
Very much so.
Yes, go right ahead.
Okay, my time just not starting now, so don't get it twisted.
We'll start over. Start over with her.
We're gonna start over. Okay, thank you guys. I know who I voted for. So, Richard, I did vote for you. So, people, yes, okay. But anyway, one of my questions is, what is the qualifications to become the chair? Secondly, have you guys read the chair? I would like to know that from Ms. Weaver and Ms. Small. And if so, what 3 sections would you like to see to stay without change in the charter? And which 3 would you like to see amended, changed, or revisited? And if you have not read the charter, why not?
So to answer your question, the chair is not here, so I don't know if you're just proposing that question to me, or would you like all of us to answer?
Well, I would like you.
Okay, so yes, I have read the charter in regards to the areas that I would like to look at amending and proposing to the community, because ultimately it is the people's choice of what amendments they would like to see in the charter. I would like to look at the election commission. I would like to take a look at our board of police commissioners, and also the residency requirement for elected officials.
You want?
Can Richard say that for me, please? Because I don't know these two ladies.
They set up. Richard set them up.
Right, I never seen them. I would like for her to answer, because I've never seen them nowhere in the community. Never.
He puppet on the string.
All right, look.
So why?
So, which, Lori?
Her time expired. Her time expired.
They registered in the city of Detroit.
If she hasn't clarified who she's.
Have they read the charter?
Or not?
And if they have,
Your time is up, so which commissioner are you addressing
She
this to?
did both, Madam Chair. She did both.
So Commissioner Hughes and Holmes, would you like to answer that question?
Yes, I've read the charter. My qualifications are I'm a Detroit resident. I've been living here for the past since 2005. I am very active in my neighborhood. I'm sorry that we haven't had an opportunity to meet. I live in Brush Park. I sit on my local CDC, and I've been really active in promoting the interests of my neighbors. I actually don't have an agenda for changes. I'm here to be a part of this process to facilitate feedback from residents so that we can hear from you what it is that you're struggling with, what it is that you would like to be better in the charter. So I'm happy to meet you. We could talk more about it afterwards if you like.
Oh, excuse me.
Commissioner Hughes, would you like to answer the question?
Do you want me to?
Okay. Next, please state your name.
My name is Otis Mathis from African Town, 48217 AT-4. And as mentioned who you voted for, if that's the case, I only plunked. I plunked one, Joanne. That's all I plunked. I plunked one, Joanne. But we need to record these meetings, because just learning how their minutes are being taken, doesn't make any sense. So I hope that y'all come up with an idea to make sure every word, is accounted for. And one way is to use the technology that's available now. And if it's not being recorded, given to you, then you need to have a recorder for that. And you can have a parliamentarian on your board, because the parliamentarian only answers to the president.
Seconds.
To the president. So I'm confused. I sit on a lot of boards, Southwest Solutions, Southwest Business, our citizens with challenges that represent downriver and Southwest Detroit. So I'm trying to figure out time. Thank you very much.
So to answer your question, I think that there was some confusion, but I do understand and I do agree. You can't have a parliamentarian be on your board. Thank you.
Another discussion.
Hi. Please state your name.
Good evening. My name is Joyce Jennings, and I've been here since 4:30 with my daughter. Very excited about the opportunity to see you all sworn in on today. I didn't know all of you, but I did vote for many of you by researching the candidates. But I just want to read the scripture. Proverbs 29:2 says, "When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn." For the past 20 years, as Detroiters, we've seen a lot of injustice going forth as a result of state takeover. Policy drives organizational change, and I just pray that you all have the opportunity to get to know one another, and that you will be able to work in the best interest of the citizens, because there are many people who are here, and not necessarily you per se, but even in the room, who are elected officials, and some of them, I believe, are put in office and not elected by the people. So I pray that you represent the voice of the people. God bless you.
God bless you. Thank you so much.
I want to respond to that. I want to respond to that young lady to say that I know me personally, Commissioner Joanna Underwood, is upholding the rights of the people. I was elected by the people. I came to this with no special interests, grassroots activists, been fighting for the well-being of the people, no corporate interests. We went up against big money, and that's the reason why we're here. And that's the reason why we're here. So rest assured, Commissioner Underwood has the best interest to creating the policy to better serve the interests of all residents of the city of Detroit.
Next, please state your name. You have 1 minute.
I heard it.
Renla Session.
Order, one voice.
Renla Session, longtime Detroiter. The sister that spoke before me stole my thunder. And Lori pretty much asked the question I wanted to ask, so I'll just make a comment. The reason why you all are getting so much backlash from the people is because we have been profoundly disrespected by the city officials. And we are going to keep our eye on you all. There's only 4 of you all I trust. The rest of y'all, I don't know. And I'm gonna be keeping an eye on you all. And if I'm going to make sure, I'm going to give you all heck if you all don't listen to the people and not the people with money. That's right. Okay. Because that is what has been going on. And that's why you all are getting so much flack. Because we know that there are people who are working for the interest of the people with money. And I'm tired. I am sick and tired of them doing this to my city. That's all I have to say. Thank you
so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your compassion.
Mr. Session.
Madam Chair, may I make a brief comment?
Yep, 1 second.
Okay.
I would just like to say, listen, we have all heard these comments about who led us here. And yes, some of us have already been active in grassroots, and we have already served the interest of the people. And I do understand that there is some frustration and some concerns about whether or not everyone on this body came here for the interest of the people. But let me say this, only time will tell, and it's up to you, the people, to hold all of us accountable. That's your responsibility as well, to hold all of us accountable. That's the importance of coming to these meetings, ensuring that your voice is heard, and making sure that what you want to see in that charter is actually implemented. So thank you. I'm sorry, Commissioner Mack.
Yes, thank you. I know people are leaving, and I just wanted to say, I pray that we have as much attendance in our subsequent meetings as we do today. Please bear with us. We're learning Robert's rules. We're learning each other. We're learning the process. But believe me, folk, the sister said it well. We're up against some real issues. We're up against some real challenges. There are going to be some things that we propose which are not going to be liked by a number of people. And I know that we're going to need each and every one of you to be here, a little more quiet, but to be here, to be engaged, to be the engine that we need to make these changes to happen. So please continue. Don't take this one meeting as, I'm not going to go, they're not talking about nothing. No, please come back. Once we get our rhythm, you're going to start seeing some real serious things. I trust and know, I've gone to know a lot of these members up here. I know all of them will have the best interests of the city to where we can make sure that we're going to make some real changes, and we need you to do that. So please come back.
So thank you, Commissioner Mack. Please state your name. Okay. Please state your name. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is.
Let's respect the person who's here to speak. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Tanae Hankins. I am precinct delegate and also serve on a number of nonprofit boards. I just would like to say that this meeting, how it's been run, and the disrespect is unconscionable. The fact that if the shoe's your size, put it on, because it doesn't apply to everybody. The fact that people, you will get the respect that you give, and you all are not prepared. You should have known Robert's rules before you ran. So what I am doing is offering you, as a small business person that holds a consulting firm, that maybe you all should consider the citizens for training, okay, and objectiveness, okay, before you all meet in January. Because you all are not prepared, and you just said something, give you time. No, you should have had that done before you ran. So I'm giving you all the benefit of the doubt. Congratulations, you got a hard job ahead of you, but this is unacceptable. And I am willing to help you. There are a couple of people on the board that can get in contact with me, and I don't ever want to hear again that you don't have who raised the minute, a motion, who seconded the motion, what the motion was, et cetera, et cetera.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you so much for that.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
He won't be keeping the minutes from this point on. Thank God.
Hi, please state your name.
Yeah, Joanne Warwick. So I've already heard a lot of comments in the audience about this, but personally, you know, democracy isn't always a smooth, clean process. It makes me think of the mayor's meeting that he shut down after he said people were rude or disrespectful, when it seems to me like people didn't want to accept his evasive answers. And, you know, take a look at the way the British Parliament operates. It's pretty lively, and that's okay, I think, if we understand and nobody's, you know, saying super nasty things. But, so I was going to say some other things, but the stuff happened before. So I'll just get quickly, just one thought on my mind. Let's do something about the land bank and the way that's operating. The Detroit Real Estate Committee, it's on the city's webpage, but good gosh, you ask the people who work for the city about it, and they don't seem to know too much, or you get very, very many different answers. This is impacting the future of the city of Detroit. The Board of Police Commissioners needs some more clearly defined rules. I filed a complaint. I filed more than one complaint. I got it back. It didn't even say who the officers were, the facts of the case. It said decision not found. I mean, there was no reasoning there whatsoever. So to me, the commission is a little useless. I think you need to put some more details in about what this process is, so that citizens can get a little more, you know, information and hopefully closure. Thank you
so much.
And I want to make a comment. I understand the public is very upset with the authorities that is operating in our city. As commissioner, I will look thoroughly into these authorities and the operations, and if there's any changes by law that we can make to better the authorities or get rid of the authorities, believe me, Commissioner Underwood will be the first one to present this to this body, and the land bank is the first one I will present. Thank you.
Hi, please state your name.
Hi, my name is Zelia Hall, and right now I want to say welcome, and for each of you that's there, I would hope that you would introduce yourself. I know that the clerk swore you in. She knew your names, but we didn't. So if you can just introduce yourself to us, it would greatly be appreciative.
It's a good idea.
Thank you. Barbara?
Well, Miss Hall, is it? Was it Mrs. Hall? Okay. We'll start here. My name's Barbara Winder. I'm a 50-year resident of the city of Detroit. I have a long history of social activism. I practiced law. I was a court administrator. I've been a college administrator. I owned a business for 30 years, and I'm totally retired. I now use my time to volunteer at the Capuchian Center, where I serve with a group called Got State ID. We help people who need state ID to get back and forth to the Secretary of State to get it. We also help them to get birth certificates. I'm also a member of the Detroit Action Coalition. Some of my members are here, my colleagues are here, and we also work out of the Capuchian Center. I have a long history of social activism here in the city, and I'm pleased to meet you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Can we each keep it to a minute and just in the essence of time so we can
Why
make
you
sure we
looking
get
at me
to the
when you
public?
said
You
that?
know, I'm just telling you.
See, okay.
That's all of us collectively.
Hi, Ms. Hall. My name is Joanna Underwood, and I'm a political activist and community organizer. I lived in Detroit all my life. I've been fighting for the betterment of the city of Detroit, particularly the low-income residents. I'm the founder of Detroit Black Women's Council and have done a lot of activism work in the city of Detroit around housing and water affordability.
My name is Nicole Small, native Detroiter, born and raised on the west side of Detroit, former UAW member, also worked in HR and labor relations, and right now I'm working with a state campaign, One Fair Wage. My goal is to ensure that we leave Detroit a little bit better than what it is now, and that can only happen if we include the voice of the people. Please, I cannot stress it enough. We need you to come out to these meetings, and it will definitely be my goal to make sure that you have not only proper representation to ensure that you're treated with dignity and respect, but also that you have the proper notification so you can get to these meetings. So again, I think we're all grateful that you came out today, and it means so much to us. Please continue to come out and engage in these meetings and let your voice be heard.
Hi, Ms. Hall. Thanks for the personal nature of your question because it speaks to the essence of this body. My name is Tracey Peters, longtime East Side resident. What I'll say is before getting into this election, I was a public school teacher. My whole life has been teaching, and I shifted and became an attorney about 6 years ago when the laws weren't working for our kids. I'm a member of Keep the Vote, No Takeover. It's the only group in Detroit I proudly stand up and represent because my platform was voting rights. Because around this country, voting rights are under attack. And this is our charter, our people's charter, and I will fight to maintain that, as will my fellow commissioners.
My name's Richard Mack. I've been practicing labor law only for unions and employees for the last 20 years. I was one of the attorneys in the city of Detroit bankruptcy, where I fought for the rights of individuals, retirees, and workers. I've sued the city under the charter a number of times. I was a subject matter expert for the last charter commission. I've spent my career fighting for people, and I'm telling you, if we see you here, it will give us more ammunition to go forward and continue to use this charter to fight for those who are the underserved, as what our sister Underwood likes to say. And just please, again, please come out. Thank you. God bless you. Finally, I'll say I'm a believer in the Lord Savior Jesus Christ. So I know I'm going to be praying for each and every one of you and for this entire body. Amen.
Quincy Jones, I am a community organizer with Osborne Neighborhood Alliance. I've been working on the east side for a number of years. So I'm very excited to be part of the charter and looking forward to hearing your voice. And I love the energy and the excitement about the change that is happening, especially coming from all of the residents here. So thank you so much.
Good evening, Ms. Hall and everyone. My name is Laura Hughes. I moved to the city of Detroit in 2006. I live in the Boston Edison. Oh, I'm so sorry. I live in the Boston Edison neighborhood. My background is in public health. I started doing HIV and street outreach. I then moved and was the executive director of the Ruth Ellis Center, which serves homeless and runaway LGBTQ youth. I then went to the Skillman Foundation, where I was a program officer over the youth development portfolio. I then moved to corporate America and was the vice president of communications and community for the 6th largest woman-owned IT staffing firm in the nation, which is in the Penobscot building here. And now I am currently working at my own consultant firm, and I am doing work on the Cody Rouge initiative, which centers around Cody Rouge High School.
Okay, one, we already have a question on the floor. 1 second. Carissa?
Am I doing my introduction or? Okay, sorry. I'm sorry. My name is Carissa Holmes. Like I said, I've been a resident of Detroit since 2005. I've also been practicing law for the past 10 years or so. I'm a homeowner and resident in Brush Park. I've been living there since 2012, so I'm very active in my neighborhood. I was elected to the Brush Park Citizens District Council, which reorganized as the Community Development Corporation after the emergency manager disbanded expanded CDCs. I was also appointed to the Neighborhood Advisory Committee, which provides community input for the District Detroit and related developments for the LCA arena. So I'm excited to be a part of this process and to get to know Detroiters broader than my neighborhood, and look forward to engaging with you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next question. Thank you so much for that.
Should have told them who you work for.
You did.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Tawana Morris. I'm a political activist. I'm also your state central rep for the 13th District, Michigan Democratic Party.
All right.
I'm here, and my main reason for being here, one, I want to be able to see who is going to be our next elected officials, because the charter is very serious situation. I'm also here because of my understanding, Dan Gilbert financed a lot of campaign money. And I wanted to make sure that Dan Gilbert is a private entity. He's not a public entity, okay? And whoever, I want to make sure that the votes are done in favor of those who's living in the city of Detroit, and that you are going to protect our city.
Amen.
That's why I'm here.
We appreciate that.
Thank you. And I have a problem with your chair leaving. The chair should have been here, should have remained here, no matter what. Because you are going to be faced with some powerful, powerful issues, okay? So I'm here. I might be in the background, but my eyes are going to stay open. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I just want to state for the record,
Commissioner Underwood. Commissioner Underwood.
I want to state for the record, I have no business ties. I do not work for Dan Gilbert. I was not funded by Dan Gilbert, and I was funded by the people. So thank you very much for your comment.
Next, please state your name.
My name is D'Amico Williams. I am a resident in the city of Detroit all my life. I am happy to be here. I thought this was going to be pomp and circumstance. I thought there was going to be official swearing in of people dressed up in nice tuxes and dresses and being, showered with well wishes. But I am happy democracy is taking place right now. I voted for some of you, and I believe that you all could have the mind to recognize that Detroit has been under attack by corporate and private interests. They have had more to say in our decision-making versus us, the people that are here tonight. And we, the people in the community, I am so happy that the community turned up and turned out in numbers to see this body come together and assemble, because we are tired of corporate, private, and special interest having a say at this table over our elected leadership of government versus us, the people that elected them. Now, it is your jobs and it is your responsibility to ensure that the rules are fair, that they are balanced, and that they also tip in the scale, no matter if we are being challenged by Oakland County, suburban interest, or any interest outside of Detroit, to make sure that our rules and our regulations, the processes and the procedures of this building is immaculate, and that it is to be said that there are no corporate takeovers or special interests to run our city. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
very
May I
much.
make a comment about that, Madam Chair?
Commissioner Mack.
I just want to say Mr. Williams brought up a reminder of me being in this particular room when the city council was assembled up here, and we had amassed a couple of hundred union members, and there was a union member who stood up, who was a president of his union. Now get this, and he stood right there at that podium, and he said, I represent my members, I file grievances for these folk, but I go home to a homeless shelter because I'm not paid enough to work. I work full time. I'm not paid enough to own a home, to rent a home, and I just lost my home. So when you have comments like that about how we need to make sure that the balance of power is shifted, make sure that we need to look out for those who don't have, to make sure that this charter is working for those who don't have, I absolutely think that all of us we'll make sure, we'll present a document prayerfully to you that you consider to do something close to that. So thank you for the comment.
Yeah, thank you.
And I just would like to say for the record, I will be giving this speaker at least another 40 seconds to speak. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
It's fine.
Go ahead.
Mayor,
Hello.
good evening.
Good
Good
evening.
evening.
My name is Marguerite Maddox.
We know who you
Born and raised in the city of Detroit all my life. And I represent the disabled community and the senior community. And we need to do something with the ADA voting machines because they are a mess right now. That's number one. Number two is to fix the sidewalks. And my goal for the future is to make the city of Detroit ADA accessible for all.
That's right.
Meaning interpreters, the people like myself who are hard of hearing. And that's why I could not hear at the beginning, because there was a lot of people behind me shouting at each other. So please do not shout when the meeting goes on.
Okay.
Please listen and zip the lips.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I would like to see this member to become more involved in the disability community. Because some of you may not know the ADA law. So please brush up on that, because we as a disabled community have every right to use new businesses that are open up and not ADA accessible at all. And I got pictures on my phone that I can show you guys after the meeting is over. But my number one priority is to get a commission or the disabled in the city of Detroit here at home when I was young, because the disabled community can go to for the ADA rather than to go to the Civil Rights Department when they don't even know nothing about the ADA. Sometimes, whenever we get the complaint form, we do not hear nothing from the Civil Rights Department in this building.
Marjorie, can I respond to something you said? So I want to make sure that we're clear.
Yeah.
I think that you're also talking about the Disability Caucus, if I understand correctly, and also ensuring, yeah.
Please, move the mic over a little bit. Thank you, please.
Move my mic over. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. I need to reach your lips.
Okay. Are you referring to the Disability Caucus that Lisa Franklin referred to? Okay. That is something that I am looking into, and I wanted to share with the other colleagues on the board once we convene our first meeting regarding the difficulties that you may have with city-owned buildings not being handicap accessible. I think that, and I don't want to speak for anyone else, but I don't think you will have any pushback with ensuring that we address the needs of the disability community. So we will be working on that, and what I will personally do is I will make sure that you and the other members of WOW and the Disability Network know when our meetings are, and we will ensure that those buildings are handicap accessible as well. So you could come out to the meetings, okay?
Number one, please do not use the word handicap.
Okay.
Do not use that word, period.
What's the word?
Don't use the word handicap.
Disabled
Don't use that
or
word.
physically challenged.
Thank you.
Physically challenged. Oh, I wasn't. I think she think I was referring to them as, I'm sorry, I think she thinks that I was referring to the people as handicapped. I was saying making the buildings handicap accessible for the disabilities community. So I understand. Thank you. So we'll have one more question after Ruby. Okay? Go ahead.
Good evening to all the elected officials.
Good evening.
City Charter. My name is Ruby Riley. I'm a community activist. I belong to National Action Network. I'm a precinct delegate, Precinct 92, Citizens for Detroit Future. I've been in Detroit 68 years. Out of my 68 years, I have never failed and broke any bones in my body. So I'm hoping that you all can, like she said when she mentioned the sidewalk, because I fell a total of 4 times. Not clumsy, sidewalks.
Okay.
One of them was getting up on the city bus when we had all that snow, and instead of them lowering it down so I could step up on it, I slipped and fell. And right now I have a plate on my ankle and 2 screws. And the city need to be paying my bill and paying me. So I hope you all look off into that. As far as the land bank, as far as
10 seconds.
As far as the senior citizens that we used to have where they can fix your homes. Well, now that I became a senior 3 years ago, is now they turned it into a loan. So hopefully you all can get into with your mayor and see if they can get something done for the seniors, because we need roofs, we need porches, we need a lot of stuff that the seniors should be entitled to and not by a loan.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that.
Good evening, all.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Cecily McClellan, and I am a vice president of Darrah. Also, I'm a former City of Detroit employee. I was very much active in the last charter revision, and I do not believe that this charter should have been opened up. I think there are issues that needed to be addressed, but those things could have been proposed. I think the city is going through emotional shock, if you will. We went through democracy being removed totally through emergency management. And that during that process, we had our pensions stolen from us. And the city of Detroit, as we look at it, the entire bankruptcy was on the back of the pensioners. Now, we're very much concerned that right now we have corporations that are very much back in this process. Even, the slate that was put together under the disguise of, we're trying to get rid of districts, which was a total lie.
10 seconds.
But the reality is that we don't want to have built into the Constitution of the City of Detroit, controlled by corporations, by authorities, as Ms. Underwood has indicated. We need to make sure that this charter represents the people of the City of Detroit, or we make sure that this charter is voted down.
Thank you. I share the sentiments of I share the sentiments of what you were saying about the fact that the charter, you didn't like the fact that it was open. I was opposed to it opening too, but now we have to establish a board, and rest assured, hopefully everybody that's committed to making the charter work fairly and equally for everybody, and it is the people charter. It don't belong to Dan Gilbert, it doesn't belong to the mayor, it belongs to us, the people. And I know, speaking for myself, Commissioner Underwood, that I am dedicated to making sure to protect all the rights of the residents of the City of Detroit and your interests on this board. Thank you very much.
And let me just say this. We also have an opportunity as a board to create committees. So I think that we will, in our next meeting, I'm absolutely certain that we will start to discuss some of the committees that will be able to address some of these issues. So again, even when you come back out, if you know that you're passionate about the pension, which I hear you, and I have some ideas for that, but it technically should come and be from the people and be supported by the people, try to come with some solutions that you may want to propose to the board, and let us take that back to the table and see if it's some language that we can frame to work around it. Thank you. Cindy? Okay, so Cindy, we're gonna have 1 minute, and I'm gonna give you a 20-second warning, Cindy, so you'll know when to wrap up. Go ahead.
Now, I'd like to take a vote of the audience. How many would like Nicole for your chairman? Raise your hand.
We already voted. We already voted.
Okay, now, and how many want the current chairman that had to leave? Now, I'm just saying, I can see the difference in the chairing. And of course, we don't have a vote, do we? We only have a vote up or down once they pass this charter, unless we make them put section by section, which we could. But my problem is that this was an undemocratic process from the get-go, because the nominations closed April 24th, and the earliest signature was our chairperson that got elected, the 11th, Carol Weaver, and then Quincy Jones had the 13th. Well, they were on the inside track. Somebody tipped them off.
20 seconds,
but
Cindy.
the point is that if this is going to be democratic, everybody should have known. And what they did, because the Michigan Home Rule Act says that you have to elect your commission 60 days after you vote to open up the charter, therefore, to save money, they put everything on the same ballot. But myself, what I'd like to see
Cindy.
is that they have a new election 2 years from now, and we start meeting right now, discussing what we want, and do we want to revise the charter or amend it? If we can amend it by putting in things that are not in contradiction to each other, you can amend it. But to open it up.
So Cindy, what district do you live in, Cindy? What city council? Cindy, wait a minute. No, you've already gone 30 seconds over, Cindy. So I want to clarify what you're stating. What city council district do you live in?
In 6. Okay.
You live in 6. So let me propose something, because you've already gone 35 seconds over, and we're only allowing for 1 minute.
I'm slow like she is. Now, please, Nicole.
No. So if possible, Cindy, if possible, if you have this in writing, why don't you bring it to our meeting and you can propose it and you can organize in your community?
In every single meeting they have.
Order, we have a
parliamentarian. They're not used to taking minutes of your discussion and your feedback. And if you want a record of what you're saying,
Chair.
get a transcript made and have them put that in their budget.
Sandy.
And get ready to vote the thing down. And under the law, they can keep coming back. But we got to get people registered and informed, so if they try to get us to vote on something crummy, we need to vote it down.
Thank you so much, Cindy. Thank you.
Best way to get
The best way to get Trump out of there is to get every
Madam Chair.
single Detroit person registered to vote before 2020. Start right now and get people out there to vote and let them know that they
Madam
better
Chair.
vote this thing down unless it's damn good.
Well, first, do you have a comment?
I was going to move to adjourn.
I think Quincy has something to say to that.
No,
Did you have something to say to that?
No, she's gone.
So first and foremost, we would like to thank each and every one of you for coming out today. We really appreciate it. We appreciate your support. As Commissioner Mack said, this is a work in progress. We have been elected to make sure that we serve your interests, not special interests, and I'm quite sure with you holding us accountable, that will be done. So do I have a motion to adjourn the
I
meeting?
so move.